So we will have Tyler's mom, Miss Erica DeMille.
Hi. Thank you guys so much for having me here today. My name is Erica DeMille, and I'm the mom to Tyler, age 10, Meadow, age 6, and wife to Dan for almost 17 years. When you meet me today, these are the statistics you're going to learn about me, but there is a lot more to the DeMilles than meets the eye. So to give you the whole picture, I guess I'll just start at the beginning. Dan and I welcomed our first child, Tyler, when he made his grand entrance on July 3rd, 2006, a full 2 weeks later, and weighing in at 11 pounds, 3 ounces. You heard it, 11 pounds, 3 ounces. But I should have known then that he was going to be a kid that was going to continue to surprise me and keep doctors on their toes. The next 4 months were filled with ignorant bliss, and Dan and I really enjoyed being parents. But then in November of 2006, I found a small bump on the top of Tyler's head. I showed it to my friends and families. Everybody's like, we really think it's nothing. Don't worry about it. In January, I took Tyler to his 6-month well visit, showed the bump to his pediatrician. She too was not worried, but thought, why don't you go see a dermatologist just to be sure? She wrote the referral. I made an appointment. The next available appointment wasn't until 4 months later in April. In late January, I was at Georgetown for an appointment of my own, and with the thought of this bump really weighing heavily on my mind, I got in the elevator to go home and found myself alone. And if you have ever been to the PHC building in Georgetown, that does not happen very often. And I think that if other people had been in the elevator with me, I would have been distracted by your regular elevator chit-chat, what floor are you going to, how old is your baby, etc. But as the door shut, I hesitated on selecting my destination. I wondered, should I go and beg for an appointment? I didn't want to seem like one of those crazy first-time moms that was worried about everything, but I didn't think I was being crazy. Everyone said it was nothing, but I stood there in the elevator and I really contemplated, do I hit ground or do I hit 2, which is the floor that the dermatologist was on? I thought maybe they had a cancellation. What's the worst that could happen? And so I hit 2. And little did I know that at that moment, I set into motion a series of events that ultimately would mean the difference between life and death for Tyler. I got off at the 2nd floor and I approached the receptionist, politely explained our situation, and she looked at me and for a moment must have seen something that told her that I wasn't being crazy, and she got me an appointment for the next day at 1:30 p.m., but warned me that I might have to wait, which I had no problem with. The next day we saw the dermatologist. He came in, asked my permission for some medical students to come in and learn. Of course, I had no problem. They told me that the little bump was in fact nothing. It was called a juvenile xanthogranuloma. What a relief. The worrying was over. Or was it? As I dressed Tyler, the dermatologist turned to the medical students and said, now if you Google this, you'll find some scary stuff, including a link to a neurological disorder. But that's only when the patient presents with a JXG and 6 or more cafe au lait birthmarks. My heart sank, and I told the doctor that Tyler actually had 2 of those on the back of his legs. They did a full examination, and he said, 2's no big deal. If you find 6 or more, we have a problem. Should I be worried? He said he wasn't, but just keep an eye on it. So the mystery of the red bump was still a mystery. While changing Tyler's diaper, literally the next morning, I unfortunately found more spots. Overnight, 4 more cafe au lait birthmarks had appeared on the back of his legs. I called the pediatrician, who told us to come in immediately. They examined him, and then he told me that he was presenting possibly with neurofibromatosis and referred me to the NIH. About a week later, we met with a team of doctors there at the NIH, and when I say a team, it's definitely a team. It is really, other than the fact that Tyler was sick, the NIH is the coolest place to go. So a team came in, they talked to me, they left, they talked amongst themselves, they came back in, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the appointment, they weren't really convinced that Tyler had NF1, but they wanted me to follow up in a month or so. And I felt like even if he did have NS1, it didn't seem like it was a big deal. Other than the JXG on his head and some birthmarks, he wasn't really showing any signs of remotely being sick. From the outside, he still looked healthy. When we returned to the NIH on February 27th, I pointed out another JXG that I had found on his head, and the doctors looked at me, kind of shook their heads, and I knew it wasn't going to be good news. They said 2 JXGs, 6 or more cafe au birthmarks. Well, he definitely has NF1. We're just going to run a quick CBC to rule out leukemia. We're not worried. Tyler looked totally healthy. But on March 1st of 2007, the NIH referred us to Georgetown University Hospital for a possible leukemia diagnosis. I remember that day like it was yesterday. The drive from NIH to Georgetown seemed to take forever. And when we arrived, Dan dropped me off with Tyler at the front door of the Lombardi Cancer Center. I walked through the doors, stood there, actually had no idea where to go, when a friendly-looking doctor came up to me and literally said, "You must be Erica DeMille." I was surprised, because how did he know that? And he said, "I'm Dr. Turetsky. The NIH called. We've been expecting you. Come with me. I'm going to take care of you." And that he certainly did. For all intents and purposes, on that date, Tyler was diagnosed with juvenile myelomonocytic leukemia. We were told that he needed a bone marrow transplant, and even if he had that, he had about a 20% chance of survival, slightly higher if he got it before his first birthday. In the simplest of terms, they said, we're just going to kill his existing bone marrow, replace it with somebody else's, and in about a year, everything will be back to normal. Well, they left out a little bit in between, but Tyler did receive his life-saving bone marrow transplant on July 2nd of 2007, just one day before his first birthday, thanks to an unrelated donor whose name is Marissa. And we are excited to be celebrating 10 years post-transplant in less than a month. I know. Like most parents, when you learn that your child has cancer, you know that at that exact moment that your life will never be the same. It is forever changed. And I remember feeling at the time like time had stopped. You just got this membership to a club that nobody wants to join. And even though you're not the one with cancer, it sometimes feels like you are. As a parent, you're the advocate for your child. You're the one breaking the news to family and friends. You're the one deciding on treatments. You're in charge of the medicines. You're consoling those who are scared for you, scared for Tyler, saying to them, he's going to be fine, even when you sometimes didn't believe it yourself. And certainly you're the one wishing and hoping and bargaining that it was you instead of him. And if you had asked me that day or in the weeks following while we were in the hospital what this experience would have on my life, I'm pretty sure I would have only listed negative things. Sorrow for what had been stolen from Tyler and from me, fear of what the days would bring, anxiety on having your heart race every time the phone rang, and anger at everything. To be honest, I like his temperature better in Fahrenheit than in Celsius. I want his weight in pounds and not kilograms. And I really don't like acronyms, NF1, JMML, NPO, ANC. I had enough. But don't get me wrong, all of these are 100% valid feelings. But if you asked me that same question today, my answer would be very different. You see, I was given a gift, one that I will never forget. And as all of you move forward with your good work, finding better treatments, better drugs, and ultimately a cure, I want you to remember me and to remember Tyler, because we're the face of the people that you guys are helping. No matter what your role is, nurse, staff, doctor, child life worker, advocate, researcher, medical student, no matter what your role, it's not just the patient's life that you're saving. You're saving the life of that patient's mother and father, their siblings, their aunt, uncle, grandparents, friends, of every person who knows or will ever know that child. Dr. Turetsky and every nurse and doctor that we've come in contact not only saved Tyler's life, but they saved my life too, and Dan's, and they gave Meadow a chance to have a big brother. I can't think about what this world would be like if Tyler wasn't in it. So no one knows what tomorrow holds. And I wish that Tyler didn't have to have a bone marrow transplant to learn that, but he did. So when people meet me today, they'll learn that I'm Erica DeMille, mom to Tyler and Meadow, wife to Dan, and the mother of a leukemia survivor, and I'm very proud to be a member of this club. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah, sorry, even after 10 years, it still gets to me, you know. Any questions? No? Good, thank you guys. Oh. Do you remember meeting us?
I do remember meeting you. I just want to mention how important the advocacy is, because when I look at adult oncology and peds oncology, my sense is we do better in peds because parents are the advocates and adult patients don't advocate for themselves the same way. So this is tremendously helpful and I think can change the field. So
thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Erica, what do you say to families that are just coming into what you want to continue? And I'm sure it happens.
It does. Yes.
What would you say to help make them feel?
Do not give up hope. The odds were against me, they were against Tyler, and we did not give up. And so no matter what the circumstances are for that patient, to look at us and to be like, you know, we shouldn't be here, and to give them hope and giving Tyler as an example of how you can beat the odds through this, so. And to have a positive attitude and laugh a lot during the treatment, which isn't always easy, but thank you guys so much. It's been an honor to be here, and I've loved learning from everyone who spoke today, so thank you so much.